flag on this. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Guys,
Here.
Lincoln,
Here.
Gilmore,
Here.
Rose,
Here.
Haskell,
Here.
Oakland,
Here.
Hauser. Here. Reinhardt,
Here.
Jeffy.
Here. Okay, before we approve the agenda, there's an adjustment. It'll be 12A. We need to send Plain clerk's report.
Can you say that a little longer?
Yes, that's right. We're gonna have a clerk's report right after the administrator's report.
All right, thank you.
Okay, whenever you're ready, we would accept the motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Make a motion, we approve the agenda as amended. I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Either to approval of minutes. Scan through the minutes, whenever you're ready.
Make motion to approve the minutes of February 18, 2026.
Seconded to approve the minutes of February 18th. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. General public comment. This is Gilmore.
Let me start your timer. I haven't started talking. Good morning, board. I'm Linda Gilmore and I'm from Grant Township. I am asking the board to post our national motto, "In God We Trust." Our nation has a rich history and tradition of honoring God. It is evident in many examples. Examine the Michigan Constitution preamble. It says, "We the people of the state of Michigan grateful to Almighty God for the blessings of freedom and earnestly desiring to secure these blessings undiminished to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution." With the faith of many of our founding fathers, public prayers and national days of prayer have been a long-standing and significant history in our American tradition. The Supreme Court affirmed the right of state legislatures to open their sessions with prayer in Marsh versus Chambers, 1983. The National Day of Prayer is a vital part of our heritage since the first call to prayer in 1775, when the Continental Congress asked the colonies to pray for wisdom in forming a nation. The call to prayer has continued through our history, including President Lincoln's proclamation of the Day of Prayer of humiliation, fasting, and prayer in 1863. And then in 1952, a joint resolution of Congress signed by President Truman declared an annual National Day of Prayer. And then in 1988, the law was amended and signed by President Reagan, permanently setting the day as the first Thursday in May. Each year, the president signs a proclamation encouraging all Americans to pray on this day. Last year, all 50 state governors, plus the governors of several U.S. territories, signed similar proclamations. Our motto was adopted in 1956. It appears on our coins, our paper money, and behind the speaker's chair in the U.S. House of Representatives, and that was authorized in 1962. Why should we do this now? The strength of our nation is shown by how it honors the history and traditions of the people. As our history and traditions are erased, our country weakens. For every freedom or right that's removed, many more are lost by self-censure. If we fail to exercise our freedoms, we lose them without even fight. You truly don't have a right that you are afraid to use. Lately, when I see people exercise their freedom of speech on the internet, they're doing a strange thing. When they refer to God, they leave out the O. Instead, they put in an asterisk or an underscore for fear of having their thoughts removed. I say shame on us, shame on all of us, to live in a place where the name of God is treated like something that we can't even use in public, treated like a curse word. I refuse to despise my country, and I refuse to despise my God. Have we forgotten where we live? In the land of the free and home of the brave? That we live in one nation under God? That many patriots that have come before us trusted in God, and that produced what many would say is the freest, most productive, and most enduring free nation in the world. And if this nation repents and once again trusts in God, we may enjoy several more hundred years. On this nation's 250th birthday, let's show our pride and patriotism. Let's display the long established national motto, "In God We Trust," right here in Clare County's courthouse. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Okay, George. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Hi.
Rick.
Yeah, I'm Rick Griffith, Hayes Township. I can't top that. She really hit all the points quite well. The national model is so important. And a couple weeks ago, I said, well, what do we have posted at the courthouse? So I came down here. I walked all through the courthouse. I didn't see the Pledge of Allegiance. I didn't see the national model. I didn't see the Ten Commandments. I see nothing, you know. And our Constitution, when our founders, drew up the Constitution, what did they do? They studied every form of government to include the Bible and many other Bibles. Our government was set on many of the principles of the Bible, setting our government up from the ground up so the people would be in charge. That we have one of a kind government. The national model is something I'm quite proud of. And I agree 100%. I would like to see that go for a vote to have the national model put in here at our courthouse. And not only that, I really don't believe that it didn't go for a vote last time. I talked to a lot of people in my area, neighbors and friends. Everybody was going, what? I just didn't understand it. So, that's all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Kurt Crew from Arthur Township. And I'd like to talk about the same thing that the two previous people talked about. I was greatly disappointed in all of you. I see you're very sensitive to minorities like atheists. And you're sensitive to communists. We have a communist who is also Muslim as mayor of New York. And our whole government is very sensitive to minorities. I think it's about time you started paying attention to our heritage. And the Supreme Court has ruled that you can now put up both of those, because it's a heritage and history test. They got rid of the Lemon Law, but you discussed that last time. And I finally found a good recording and summary of this discussion you had last month on YouTube. Couldn't find it on the local website for the county commissioners, it might be there, but it's hidden well. And I'm really disappointed that you failed to even second the motion last time. You don't want to go on the record how you vote. I think that'd be very interesting. And it tells me you, like our federal government and our state government, has very little courage. You'd rather just pass all this off. Well, someday you're not gonna have a country if you keep doing it. And I guess I would like to know when you may take up this item sometime in the future. And if you'll go on record voting. And I think maybe what we need to do, unfortunately, commissioner seats and other local positions are usually run without opposition. But I would like to see this dispute here kick off some other people to run, some younger people that maybe have a better idea of what we should be doing. I thank you for your attention, and that's about all I have to say.
Thanks, Kirst. Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. As you know, my name is Pat Adams, and if I remember right, last month, nothing was discussed, or there wasn't a motion put in on board to put "In God We Trust." It was for the Ten Commandments. And I know that there's
Small correction, it was for both last time.
oh, I'm okay, I'm sorry about that, I misunderstood or misheard. I personally feel that there is nothing wrong with putting "In God We Trust," because no matter what religion you are, you have some type of God. Where I know the First Amendment, and I know what you call it, the Lemon Law changed or whatever, saying that currently that you're allowed to put the Ten Commandments up. That's a current thing. It was by a group of judges that is a short amount of people compared to how long the Constitution was made by the First Amendment. And if you put a Ten Commandments up, which one are you putting up? I did a little bit more research. I didn't know there was more than one Ten Commandment until Dale mentioned it. And then which version are you going to put up? And I don't think it's for the minorities. I wasn't going to really plan on saying anything today, but the United States was based upon a melting pot, or whatever you want to call it, of all the people coming in here. And I think I have no objection of "In God We Trust." I don't think anybody would have that objection. It's just that the original First Amendment stated that we shouldn't preference any one religion over the other. Thank you.
Any other public comment? Hey, Lisa, I think you're up.
Hello, my name is Lisa Kaspriak, and I operate your medical exam department for the county. I have for quite a number of years. I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to present the annual report today and give you an update of our office and some of the new exciting changes that we have going on. So before you, I have both your monthly report that we send on a regular basis and your annual report. So the monthly report is in case you have any questions for me, I encourage them. I'd like to be able to answer the questions real time as we have those monthly reports, but for today, we're gonna go through that annual report. Not gonna read it to you, of course, but the number of cases from the previous year till 2020 through 2025 had an increase. So we did have 106 noted, and then we went to 137. Those accidental deaths increased 31% from one year to the next, and that was an increase of from 19 to 26 accidental deaths. And suicides actually doubled, which is a little concerning and alarming, but it's our job to report that to both you, and then MDHHS takes that information and utilizes that as well. So we have such a robust staff here, and we're very. These eyes are there in the face of the families, the loved ones that have just, in all accounts, experienced the worst day of their lives. So they see, smell, touch things that most people hopefully never will have to experience, but in this job, this is all about the unexpected and what happens when the unexpected passes and that person is a loved one of yours. So we're very thankful for this team here. You know, just to simply mull over their names is not quite enough, I feel, because they really did a great service for this community. So if you see or know any of them, make sure you tell them. Of course, the deaths reported to the medical examiner's office. Most of you know what those are, but in case, you know, this is a new area, you know, those are things that are unexpected. They're not your inpatient hospital death that has been under the care of a physician. And they're also not your average hospice case as well. That's not the types of deaths that we go ahead and investigate. So the manner of death, natural accident, suicide, homicide, indeterminate pending. Last year, we had 0 homicides, which was fantastic. But of course, natural is our then largest category. And that is really what we want to see, to say that you fall in line with the rest of not only the state, but the country, and having natural deaths as your number one. Then breaking down those deaths, heart disease, number one at 54%, followed by accidental injuries is the second most category that we investigate. And then third would be the respiratory. So that does fall in line with the rest as well. What we don't want to see in any one community versus another is maybe you have, you know, suicides as your number one or accidents as your number one cause. That does fall in line, and we do watch that. Like I said, suicides have doubled. They range from the age of 27 years of age to 69 years of age. The causes of those accidental injuries then, blunt force trauma with 10, drugs, and then falls. We vary the number of autopsies and toxicologies that we do because that's based on each individual case. And so, as you know, from one year to the next, we were up for 2023, down a little for 2024, and then, you know, back to 9 for 2025. So that's where we're at with that. Toxicologies remain increased just because we're constantly sweeping and looking for the presence of illicit drugs and prescription drugs as well. Overdoses can occur from prescription drug use. So all of those categories fall into what we can do on scene to make sure that we are obtaining the samples we need to send, because that is the number one thing that we are getting requests for reports on from multiple different agencies is the toxicology findings, which you will see that then on the next page. So with the prevalence of alcohol last year, as you can see, contributed to cause of death. Alcohol really went through the charts there. A little bit of cocaine, a little bit of fentanyl, no heroin, you know, a decent amount of meth. THC was decent as well. And then the other opioids. So, the organ donor registry, so sort of our silver lining in this is, the fact that we do refer cases to Good Life Life. And so while these are all unexpected deaths, we want to make sure that the wishes of each individual are upheld. And even though they may have died outside of a facility, we want to make sure that their wishes are upheld. And so we, in Clare County, referred, 26 cases over to Good Life. And every single, so nudge for that, every single donor can save, it can really touch over 75 others. There are so many different things that, people are on a waiting list for, skin, cornea, and then the organs, which everybody knows. So there's a lot of different things. Skin grafts was probably one of the most common. So, these families were, very thankful to be able to uphold the wishes of their loved ones and go ahead and refer if that was a viable donor. And then, the last page is this, our jurisdiction. It increased a little bit yesterday, but, this is all to say that should a mass fatality event occur in this county, we have resources that we can pull from. We have 30 years now, and we have the ability to pull resources from all of these places because we know who we're working with. So in a mass fatality, when it's all hands on deck, we have 63 investigators that work over all of these counties, multiple transport agencies and funeral homes, and then the storage capability that we might need in that type of event. So that's really what we have in a nutshell. I just want to end a little bit. We kind of, Clare County actually had one person so far use our brand new CT scanner that I got a grant for. And the state of Michigan then helped us, fulfill that need for a CT scanner, and we have installed it in Wayland. Crawford County houses it right now. That CT scanner falls somewhere between the diagnosing of like toxicology, CT scan, and then autopsy. So it's yet one more tool that we are using to determine that cause of death. It was instrumental. It was very neat to see the first Clare County case go through. And that happened in, we started using it in December, so it's brand new for us, but so we're very thankful. It can detect up to 85% of what a autopsy can. It takes about 7 minutes to scan. Nothing leaves the body bag, very neat and clean. And then we have a record forever, even after cremation. As you can imagine, once you cremate somebody, you can't go back and decide that you can look for something else or do a second autopsy. So that allows us to have that permanent record, and we're very thankful for that technology, and Clare County is already using it. So thank you for that. Yeah, any questions?
So you said, good morning, I'm Gabe Ambersley, District 7. You said that it detects 85% of what an autopsy can.
Yes, and in some regards better, because when you're talking about injuries and wounds to bones and stuff like that, you can do an invasive autopsy. And we call this an invasive autopsy.
So is CT scanner the primary tool then? And then if you find something strange, then you do the autopsy?
It's another tool. So the best way to think about forensic medicine is to think about your own living medicine. There are just times when you need a scan, times when you can just have an external exam, times when you need to have blood work done. And then the autopsies are more like exploratory surgery, which thank goodness they don't do so much, but it's more about what is the most appropriate method for what we're using. But because of the extremely low cost compared to an autopsy, we have the ability to send some cases, and I'm glad you're asking, some cases through and maybe hold them and not have them read because we, just in case later we need something. So, the options here are diverse. So just think about living autopsies or your living body. Sometimes you need just tox, sometimes you need a scan.
Who's the decision maker in choosing the autopsy versus the scan? Is it the FBI's or?
Your chief, Dr. Baldwin.
I don't make the decision all.
Yes, he, just so that he's not, constantly on the phone, he does run a private practice because he needs to make his real money. And, this is
a wonderful thing for him to be able to train his lead people on. So the MEIs that operate within your county here are not allowed to release a body without calling the lead, which then is directly tied to Dr. Wagner's decision making. So yes, Dr. Wagner is the final say and, you know, the first say in what happens, and we're thankful to be able to, he is so excited and impressed by the results that are coming through, by the way, so that is good. You know, I really found this, you know, pushed this, found the money for it, got the installation, it was quite the feat, and I make it sound like, oh, it's up and running, but as you know, some things like this, you know, finding a $250,000 machine, getting a place for it, getting the licensing, you know, that it takes a minute. So, yeah. but-
Where's it housed in Greta?
It's in, they had a dispatch center that the sheriff's office abandoned, right sit in between the county building and sheriff's office. It's right there in the middle of the parking lot, so it's discreet because we of course don't. We try to keep a lot of things discreet.
And it's only used by the medical examiner, not local hospital doesn't use it for overflow.
No, they don't, but it's,
Available.
you know, in order to not seem like there was a conflict of interest, I gave it to Crawford County because I. To appear to be anything like that, so if Crawford County did decide to use it for that, they absolutely could. The state of Michigan made us get the regulations to scan live people, so we had to go over and above what would be used for the scenes.
Thank you.
Thanks for the question. Anything else?
Okay, thank you.
I thank you so much for the consideration of renewing the contract. I know that might be coming up here later. I'm going to, they'll make their wonderful on the ice and we will track this. Just want to say thank you. I won't be here, so hopefully there's no further questions. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so this brings us down to our first motion. Dale, would you take that one, please?
Sure. Sure. Motion to renew the contract with Mid-Michigan Medical Examiner Group LLC as presented through September 30th, 2029.
Second. Seconded by Dave. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Kukowski,
Yes.
Einhardt,
Yes.
Hauser. Yes. Oakley,
Yes.
Axel,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes.
Gilmore,
Yes.
Rankin,
Yes.
and Divided.
Yes.
Okay, motion carried. Mr. Gross, did you take the second one, please?
Yes. Make a motion to approve the contract renewal for Lincoln Township for the provision of additional law enforcement protection and services.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded. On that contract. Roll call, please.
Axel,
Yes.
Oakley,
Yes.
Hauser. Yeah. Einhardt,
Yes.
Kukowski,
Yes.
Divided.
Yes.
Rankin,
Yes.
Gilmore,
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Motion carried. Beth.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to approve the annual grant agreement between the Michigan State Police and Clare County in the amount of $6,250.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Divided.
Yes.
Rankin,
Yes.
Gilmore,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes.
Haskell,
Yes.
Oakley,
Yes.
Hauser. Yes. Einhardt,
Yes.
Kukowski.
Yes.
Motion carried. Chad.
I move to approve the sublease of the Veterans Freedom Park between Clare County and the Veterans Freedom Park of Clare County, a Michigan nonprofit corporation for $1 per year through December 31st of 2032.
Second. Been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
The only discussion, Mr. Chair, is the dates on the contract. Is it starting now or is it retroactive to the match?
It doesn't, I mean, it's not even.
Any more discussion? Roll call, please.
Hopewell,
Yes.
Hauser,
Yes.
Regardless,
Yes.
Fabian,
Yes.
Gilmore,
Yes.
Reinhardt,
Yes.
Majeski,
yes,
Rose,
Yes.
Haskell.
Yes.
A motion carried.
Granny Dodge Lake project loan, motion to approve the internal loan for Dodge Lake project. Not to exceed $155,000 at 1.5% interest for a term of 2 years payable through the Dodge Lake Level Special Assessment.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any questions? I see our drain commissioner is present. If anybody has questions for him. Okay, roll call, please.
Majeski,
yes,
Reinhardt,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes.
Gilmore,
Yes.
Fabian,
Yes.
Regardless,
Yes.
Haskell,
Yes.
Hopewell,
Yes.
Hauser.
Yes.
Okay, motion carried. Marlene,
Make a motion to approve resolution 26 6 8-point lake level resolution pursuant to MCL 324.30701 for maintenance and improvements expected to exceed $10,000.
Second.
been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Regardless,
Yes.
Fabian,
Yes.
Gilmore,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes.
Haskell,
Yes.
Hopewell,
Yes.
Hauser,
Yes.
Reinhardt,
Yes.
yes,
Motion carried. Gabe,
I make a motion to approve statutory finance committee meeting minutes of February 17th, 2026. The amount of $163,115.96. And minutes of March 2nd, 2026, in the amount of $192,321.45.
Second.
been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Gilmore,
Yes.
Haskell,
Yes.
Hopewell,
Yes.
Majeski,
yes,
Regardless,
Yes.
Fabian,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes.
Hopewell,
Yes.
Reinhardt.
Yes.
Motion carried. David,
Motion to approve the expenditures for the month of February 2026, the amount of $1,533,767.56. With general fund expenditures totaling $1,021,459.27.
I'll second,
been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Majeski,
yes,
Reinhardt,
Yes.
Hauser,
Yes.
Hopewell,
Yes.
Haskell,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, motion carried. Alrighty. Dale, you do policy and procedure.
sure. Motion to approve the Michigan Indigent Defense Fund Program assigned council invoice submission policy as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Fabian,
Yes.
Gilmore,
Yes.
Reinhardt,
Yes.
Majeski,
Yes,
Regardless,
Yes.
Hauser,
Yes.
Hopewell,
Yes.
Haskell,
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Motion carried. Jacob,
Of course. Make a motion to approve the state and local cybersecurity grant in the amount of $222,060.
Moved and seconded, any discussion?
I got one question on that. Is that, the money we already spend is enough of a match, so it's not gonna cost us any after that? Was that, was?
Yep, that is correct. And we spend a lot of money.
Okay, roll call please.
Gross,
Yes.
Janeski,
Yes.
Mobley,
Yes.
Ruditis.
Yes.
Rankin,
Yes.
Hauser,
Yes.
Reinhardt,
Yes.
Gilmore,
Yes.
Haskell.
Yes.
Motion carried. Jeff.
I move to approve the intergovernmental agreement between Clare County and the Clare County Road Commission that more clearly defines the payment obligation for the bond issue.
Second.
Then moved and seconded, any discussion? Okay, roll call please.
Yes.
Rankin,
Yes.
Gilmore,
Yes.
Gross,
Yes.
Haskell,
Yes.
Mobley,
Yes.
Hauser,
Yes.
Reinhardt,
Yes.
Janeski.
Yes.
Motion carried. Administrators report.
Okay. State budgets and county funding outlook, budget negotiations are advancing for the 26-27 budget. Proposals are suggesting no increase for county revenue sharing, which continues to lag behind inflation. There is ongoing discussion about expanding funds for rural law enforcement and jail operation support. We'll take it. The state is once again considering limiting local control over short-term rental ordinances. And I will stay on top of that and keep you posted when I know more. House Bill 5711 was introduced by Representative Pat Outman, which would repeal the 100% clean energy standards by 2040 that was put into effect in 2023. And it would walk back the energy reform. Last year, if you remember, in May, I think it was the wind and solar bill passed the House, but it's still sitting in the Senate right now. We are seeing a significant increase in federal and state compliance and reporting requirements, which is not a bad thing, but it's very time consuming for us. Last night I was thinking about all of the reporting portals that we have now, with all the different passwords and all of the different dual authentications. And I counted them for all the requirements, and there are 32 right now that we have to access for all of the different requirements. So it's pretty extensive. And then there is a bill that passed out of the House over to the Senate recently on the property tax millage. When there's a suggestion of a millage or a renewal that goes on the ballot, there are times when schools put it on like a May ballot or August, or there's a bill that passed the House that says it can only go on the November ballot. All millages can only go on the November ballot for taxes. So we'll see where that goes as well. I do have a question. Do you guys find the notes helpful?
Yeah.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
And you do? Okay, so you want me to keep doing that? Yeah, all right. And I think that's all I have for you.
Okay, thank you. Clerk's report, Lori.
Morning.
Really?
There's quite a bit going on with elections, so I thought I'd stop in and give you an update on some of it. And the other aspects of my office. So Register of Deeds, I'm working with a work group of Michigan Register of Deeds, to combat ransomware, malware, and items like that for our public records. I'm also working with a nationwide work group on property fraud, to eliminate, the risk of property fraud. So those are really big things happening in our country now. So I just want you to know that I am involved in combating that. Now on to elections, the rest on the whole page. There is no May election this year, so that's good. Everyone knows that we use Dominion voting equipment. If you don't hear me talking about Dominion voting equipment in the future, it's because they changed their name. Their name is now Liberty Vote. I think I told you that once before. So Liberty Vote is the name of our election equipment. I've spoken recently with the Bureau of Elections. They still have no commitment. There's still no commitment from the state for paying for new equipment. Our equipment every 10 years gets evaluated. Right now, there's no requirement to replace our election equipment yet. And there's no willingness to pay for replacing the election equipment. If they require it, that might be different. We were told that the governor put it in the budget, or the Secretary of State put it in the budget to pay for replacement election equipment, but there's no guarantee that it'll remain in the budget once they dissect it for next year. So Lori and I are watching that closely. We're working together and including that in my budget next year to replace the election equipment. And we'll see if we have to. If not, that would be great. We'll keep using what we have. But if we do have to replace it and they won't pay for it, we'll at least have it budgeted for it. There's legislation out there that, and the Michigan Association of County Clerks is fully behind this, changing the primary from August to May. So it would, instead of having 4 elections a year, we would have 3, and it would be February, May, and November. So it looks like there's a lot of support for that. It may happen in 27. It won't happen this year. It may happen in 27 though. So for this year, we'll have an August election. Next year, there's a lot of battle going on with the school unions. They want to keep the May election a special election and not a primary election. So if we move the primary to May, then they want another date so that they can have their special election on another date. So they're talking about a February election. But then we'll have the presidential primary, which happens in February. So I'm not sure how they're going to go with that, but they're looking at narrowing it down to just 3 elections, February, May, and November. For our August election, we are in full swing working on the August election. They typically in a gubernatorial election year like this, there are not local offices on the August ballot. However, when someone resigns their position, they have to fill that position with a partial term election. So there are several in our county that have partial term availability. Franklin Township Clerk is up for election. Bremen Township Supervisor, Ross Township Trustee. All seats in Reading Township, Supervisor, Clerk, Trustee, and Treasurer and both trustees. Winterfield Township Supervisor and Winterfield Township Clerk. Those are will all be on the August ballot and are all partial terms expiring in 2028. Then we have some full term offices that may or may not appear on the August ballot. It depends on the number of people that file for that. What will be on the August ballot is Clare County Road Commissioner. There's 1 full-term seat available for Road Commissioner. And then the City of Clare and City of Harrison are based on how many people file. City of Clare has 2 commissioners up for re-election. City of Harrison has a mayor position and 3 council members up for re-election. And we've already had filings for millage renewals for the August ballot, so there will be plenty of millage renewals, I'm sure. And then we'll get to the post office. Now, the post office has made some changes. First, I'm going to tell you about an incident that one of our local clerks had. She received a ballot returned from the post office from the May 2025 election in February of 2026. Marked return to sender, unable to forward. The Postal Service has set up, the clerk let me know, and then like the next day or two, we got notification from Bureau of Elections that the Postal Service has set up a new process to report mail issues. So I contacted the clerk. I said, hey, there's this new process. Why don't you report that? And she did. She reported it and was basically told that her and the voter need to do better. Her by educating her voters and reporting issues with the mail, which she did. And the voter by updating their addresses, although the clerk said there was no indication that the address was incorrect back in for the May of 2025 election. The voter has since moved, and that's why it's now being returned to the clerk. But back then there was no indication that she didn't live there. So then that brings us to a new thing the post office is doing. But the post office sent out a notification that they will not be postmarking mail the day you drop it off. It gets postmarked the day the piece of mail is processed by the post office. This will pose a problem for military and overseas voters that we rely on the postmark date for processing ballots that come in after election day. So that's the only thing that it will affect in elections, our military and overseas voters, because we do count, 6 days after the election, if a ballot comes in, we count that ballot if it's from a military or overseas voter, if it was mailed on election day or before. So if they drop it off on election day, it doesn't get processed till the next day, it won't be postmarked till the next day. And therefore we will not count it. So it will affect military and overseas voters. I am watching 53 different election bills in the House and Senate right now. I'm watching 29 different county clerk related bills. And I'm watching 20 different register of deeds bills in the House and Senate. There's a lot going on. It looks like a lot, but really it's not. For this year, they're not doing a lot. But it's still a lot to keep up on. And then I want to talk briefly about another county clerk had started comparing jury questionnaires to the qualified voter file and has since brought it to all of the other county clerks' attention that he's doing this, and it's a great idea. When someone sends in their jury questionnaire and they mark the questionnaire that they are not a United States citizen, they don't have to serve on the jury board. Well, he started comparing those jury questionnaires to the qualified voter file to see if those people were registered to vote. And he found multiple people that said they weren't United States citizens that were in the qualified voter file. So that requires some investigation on our part. You can't just go in and mark them not citizen and delete their right to vote. So we will be doing that also here in Clare County. We're sending out 4,500 jury questionnaires here in the next couple weeks, and when we get those back, we will be comparing them to the qualified voter file and taking steps to verify those people's citizenship. I think that's it. Are there any questions?
Lori,
Yes.
what does property fraud happen?
Most commonly, when we do see it in our county, it's a relative. Maybe mom or dad are elderly and one of the children wants to get them to sign the property over before they pass. That's most commonly what we have seen in the past complaints of. But with the Register of Deeds, Jack, our requirements to record a document, we have a set of requirements that we look for. Did you use black ink? Did you print or type? Is the font size a certain size? are their names and addresses on? That's what we look for. We don't check our records, okay, Jack Kleinhardt signed this property over to Jeff Haskell. Does that look like Jack's signature? We don't know. We don't check any of that. We just, Jeff hands us that document, we take it for what it is. And we report it. So we don't check to make sure that Jack Kleinhardt signed that deed. We don't check to make sure that notary is a real notary. We don't check the notary signature with the state to see if the signature matches. We don't check the person's signature. We check for recording requirements. So that's how this can happen. There's no safety in place, and I don't even know what that safety would be to stop someone from recording a fraudulent deed. And then the only time that they normally find out is then Jeff goes and gets a mortgage on that property and cashes out on it because he paid cash. Does he pay cash to you? It doesn't owe anything on it. Takes that $100,000 and leaves town. You don't find out about it if you don't sign up for our property fraud alert. You don't find out about it for 3 months later when the mortgage company is foreclosing on your property. That's what's happening nationwide.
Don't sign up for that. Not for a while.
So in our county, we do have a product called Property Fraud Alert. It doesn't cost anything. It doesn't stop the fraud, it's an alert. We would alert you, Jack Kleinhardt, we had a deed recorded in our office with your name on it, then you're today or yesterday, and then you look into it. Okay, what happened here? You call us, we tell you what was reported, and then you go from there to try to get it resolved instead of 3 months later when you're just finding out. And it's a bigger mess.
I was reading where nationwide, that's becoming more of a problem.
That's the number one fraud crime in the country is property fraud.
It literally takes 20 seconds to sign up for the fraud alert.
Yes.
You know, it's gonna say, how do you sign up for it, Lori?
You can go to our website and there's a link on there. You just put in your name and your phone number or your name and your email address. That's it. So if you have a trust, you want to sign up your personal name, your trust name, your business name, any name that you have. You want to sign yourself up and your spouse. Sign your spouse up. So any variation that you may have that you own property, use that. You can call our office. We'll do it over the phone for you. Or you can stop in. We can do it for you.
Okay,
Any of those ways.
what do you do when you sign up for an extra that you're not doing now?
Me or you?
I mean, no, how do you prevent just because you sign up something, it must trigger?
That's not gonna prevent, that's just going to let you know that something that was reported. It's going to give you a head
Once you get the
start.
text message, you run down to the register of deeds and you go, hey, it's not me, it's not me.
And we take documents through the mail.
Does
Too,
this
so
happen much or?
It
not?
happens a lot, not in our county, but nationwide, it happens a lot.
You know, I get along about everybody that owns property, probably 2 or 3 letters a week from investors
We do
scattered
too.
all over. And they have my property tax numbers and everything.
It's all public record.
It's all public record.
It sure is.
Okay,
Mhm.
so I just.
There's a lot of information. You can go on our website to the GIS. Is it GIS? GSI? GIS, I think, and click on it and see a lot of information. Pay $3 and get your mailing address, all of that.
So how does that work when you have someone that comes in with a fraudulent deed and there is a lien already on the property? Cause if you guys are just looking for filing requirements, what is the process that happens for fraud, people trying to commit fraud when they submit a fraudulent deed on a property that has a lien from some bank or?
We don't monitor that either. We don't monitor whether there are liens on the property.
So then that would be if they went to go then take that property, get a lien on it and cash out and flee town. Then that would be on the banks that have the lien already on your property to
They
go
would
through.
get a loan from the bank. They do title insurance, which would show that first lien. And then it would require to be paid off in order to get the new loan. So we typically see it on,
So it's a lot more for people that have already paid off their house, more of people that have had their property for longer.
yeah, and people research this stuff. They go online or they go into offices and they research Jack Kleinhardt to see what property he owns. Does he have a mortgage on that property? He doesn't have a mortgage on that property. I'm going to do a deed and take out a mortgage on his property. You know, these people are smart. They know what they're doing.
I did have a question with so to clarify, the replacement of the election equipment is, if it is required, then you're planning on having in the budget in case, one, it is required, and two, the state doesn't plan to pay for the replacement.
Correct.
But as of right now, there is no indication that the state will or will not require it to be replaced yet.
They won't
We're
answer
still
that.
within they won't answer, but we are still within our 10-year window for the current equipment.
It ends at the end of 2026
Okay,
or 27.
so regardless, we have to replace it for next year?
No, only if Secretary of State requires us to replace it. Our equipment is working,
Okay,
so unless all the townships and the commissioners want us to replace it, I don't have a plan to replace the equipment unless it's wanted.
Okay.
Or the state requires us to.
thank you.
Because it is a big expense. When we got this equipment, so each individual township has to pay for their own equipment or replace their own equipment at the county level. Our equipment is, I'm going to say roughly $100,000 to replace. So it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Jenny, you're up.
Morning. Morning. Works for you guys. So post office, postmark is definitely an issue. Just some examples, a township had sent a distribution to us on March 4th. It wasn't even postmarked until March 10th. So, you know, that's 6 days after she dropped it at the post office. And then we received it pretty quickly. We received it on the 12th, but we had 3 townships that sent payments to us, disbursements. That disbursements to us back in February, we still haven't received them. We still haven't received them, so, there's that payment, or shopping payments on those. So of course, statutorily wise, with taxes, there's deadlines. So it's affecting taxpayers as well. So we're recommending them to try to pay as early as they can or find a different form of payment. Or checking sure their tax cleared once they send it. But there's definitely things that are lost in the mail that we received from long ago. So that's definitely an issue. I don't know what's going to come out of that. I just passed out the reports for you guys, the cash on hand, investments and fund balance as of yesterday. So this is all current information. Please look those over. Let me know if you have any questions. Last month, I reported that we were having, the animal shelter and our office had the rabies clinic, one-stop shop, and that was very successful. It was scheduled from 10 to 1, but we had such a turnover that we stayed an additional hour. We sold 118 dog licenses. And obviously the animal shelter crew and the veterinarians, the vaccination and parvo was tempered, but it was a really great turnout. My office is still buzzing. 2 of the 3 tax deadlines for the most part are all wrapped up. We're preparing to send about 1,086 forfeiture certificates for the 2024 tax year to the Register of Deeds office for recording. We just completed the 2025 tax year settlement in the amount of $60 million with all of your local unit treasurers. The delinquent tax amount needed to make all the millage entities whole this year is $5.7 million. This is an increase of $222,000 more than last year. The taxes are still 90% collected. But between the taxable value increase and the $600,000 in additional drain and lake level special assessments this year, the delinquent amount needed has increased.
So I'm pulling in investments and hoping to still disperse the settlement dollars towards the end of April. That's normally the goal, is to disperse to all the schools and, you know, the county and seniors and everyone. I try to get them all made whole by the end of April. So we still have that goal. And just as a side note, we've already collected $400,000 in 2025 taxes that were just turned over to us. So we've had them for 11 days. So our office is just really super busy, but we are moving through that. The other tax deadline, the 2023, that has been 3 years of non-payment for taxes. In order to avoid tax foreclosure, the date they need to have paid is March 31st. Properties are still being redeemed every day, and we're still working with the taxpayers and our community partners that are trying to help the taxpayers as well. So if you see any of your constituents that are needing help, please send them to our office. Because we try to work with them as late as we can. And that is it. I apologize if I talk too fast. Does anyone have any questions? Good.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
Hey, Giffords report. I've been attending my meetings. Grant Township does have a problem. We have problems with our assessor not getting his stuff in on time. So if any of you have an assessor you're extremely happy with, if you pass along that information, I would see that our township gets it. Because he had our assessments come through. We got one, personally, I got one the day of the board of review and one the day after the board of review. So Grant Township has set up a new date for board of review so that they could meet the required 14 days. But that's the only issue we've had, otherwise everything's been going well. Great, I had enough reporting. David.
Yeah, townships are also struggling. Assessors, Weirfield, has been having quite the ride when it comes to the assessor. We're also looking for a new person, if you guys have any names. They also discussed the Marion District Library. The library sent them another request for a millage to be put on ballot. Township declined to do so. The library is refusing to give them CNOP report. So they didn't feel it was the right call for their taxpayers. Franklin Township is struggling with the new requirements for the websites to be ADA compliant. Big townships have till April this year, smaller townships next year. The cutoff is 15,000 residents for that. Basically, the laws now say that you have to have it so that the experience of people who are either blind or deaf has to be the same as if they didn't have that when visiting your website, and this includes any links to other sites. So you have contracted with someone and you have a link to their website on your site. Their site also has to be compliant or responsible for that. Summerfield Township is going to be having an additional budget workshop that's going to be today. They also did some changes to their board of review, increased the pay of the board members and the chairperson, as well as appointed 2 new members to the board. Community Action Agency is continuing to work on its leadership team restructuring. Last year, we had a new executive director come on board. It's doing some changes to try and streamline things. We are getting the financials and the audits back on track. It a couple of issues a few years ago caused some backlog to work to get through that. We hopefully should have it back on track by the end of the year. Also going to be starting a program called Pathways to Excellence, and it's about getting your organization to a higher standard and a better trained group. Hoping to get through the bronze level this year. In Hamilton Township, they discussed restructuring of permit fees. And truck and zoning and light. We also had a date set now for the Parks grand opening. We got through the Sparks grant. It's gonna be June 6th. Ribbon cutting will be at 11:30. And we'll go until 4 o'clock here. There's gonna be hot dogs, good food, music. It's gonna be a great time. So if you guys have time on the 6th, it'd be really nice to come and show support for the community. And then in Frost Township last night, there was a big discussion about the BSNA cloud switchover, and Frost has decided that until they see a change, they're not going to do anything. Just kind of hold steady and hope that something changes. There's been talks of a new company coming into the space, but they're not there quite yet. So we're hoping to hear more about that soon. That's all I have. Thank you.
I have nothing to report to. Marley?
Just to tell you the meeting, Garfield is working on getting, set up for road fund. Their taxes, so, but that's it.
I don't have much other than the MAC meeting that was scheduled for Monday. But postponed because of the weather, so. Probably get the information next week.
Jeff.
Yeah, I got something. There's a resident called me that I've known for years, and she's had issues with her address, and it's right out in your neck of the woods. Gave you 61 Byfield, and they can never get your address right. It doesn't come up on maps or anything like that, and she's been trying to get it right for quite a few years, and then her worst nightmare happened. Her husband had a heart attack and had to call the ambulance. And it was just that the ambulance had a hard time finding it. And she called me, and I don't know what to do on that. So I called Lori and found out that we have a public safety addressing committee. And that's what they do, is they take on situations like that to hopefully get their address right. And I was happy to be able to give her a call back and tell her that they have been notified that she is having issues, and that, which I thought was a good reason to have it if the ambulance can't find their house. So, Lori, if you got any questions, you can ask her about it, but it's what consists of the administrator's office, 911,
The road
road
commission,
commission,
the building department.
equalization.
And it's newly formed, which I would probably come to you next month and request like a formal approval of forming this committee. But just basically all the powers that be that do the roads and the addressing to. There are a lot of issues, and we're not gonna tackle everything, we're just gonna tackle it as it comes, right? Dwayne. So we quiet. Yeah.
That goes back to, you put 61 in Blue Road. Consumers, it used to be 61 in Byfield, and that has been a long-term problem. Some of the ones that live on 61 in Byfield, some of the ones that we spent hours going over that when we set that.
Byfield, West Temple, East 761, they're all interchangeable, I think.
And they can be on the same road. One would be named West Temple Drive 161. That is, I'm glad to know that, but good luck. Because you tried to change somebody's address, they'll say change theirs, change theirs.
We know that. Some won't be able to be solved, but some will. Some are, pretty easy to solve.
So every developer years ago in the state had to put at least one hotel in every subdivision. Maple Road and. You know, I think the 911 people do an excellent job of sorting.
They do. Like, Marlena is part of this group and, you know, she has concerns, so,
What's the name of the committee again?
Jeff wrote it down.
Public Safety Addressing Committee. That's all I got.
I have nothing to report.
Thanks, Jacob. Yeah.
Nothing.
I have one thing. So you generally at this time, we'd be about 50% expended, we're 40%, 40.08. Last year. At this time, we spent $6,913,000. And this year, we're at not $6,927,000, so we're within $14,000 of where we were last year.
Thank you. Okay, we're back to public comment.
My name's still Linda Gilmore. So, I was a teacher for 26 years in public schools. After retiring, I discovered that I was woefully, lacking in information about our government, how it works, how our constitution works, what our rights are. And so I began to do some research. And then finally in 2018, I affiliated with Patriot Academy as a volunteer to present their material to the public, because I find that I'm not the only one who is lacking in information about how things are supposed to work. Just to give you an example, everybody cites the separation of church and state wrongly, because what was intended to be for the Establishment Clause is applied to the Free Exercise Clause incorrectly. And that's just part of it. We also have a movement nationally to get rid of the Electoral College, which is actually a benefit to states and communities like ours, but people don't know how it works, they don't understand, and so they think, oh, every vote should count. Well, but that takes away many of our abilities to speak for smaller communities, smaller states, smaller populations. So it's important that people understand this information. So I present for Patriot Academy many of the classes that they have. You don't have to listen to me. I open the meeting. I run the videos and discuss and handle the discussion. We discuss current events, how it applies to what we're learning. So I wanted to make you aware that my next class will be starting in April 6th, and this one is Biblical Citizenship. It talks about the biblical foundation of our country, which again, many people are sorely unaware of how our country was founded on biblical principles. Our first colleges were established so that people could know how to read the Bible and effectively govern their country. So I have some cards if you're interested. I've been running these lately on Zoom, so you, no matter where you're at, even if you're on vacation, you can Zoom into class. This class is 8 Mondays, starting April 6th from 7 to 9. And obviously you can Zoom in from home.
You're welcome to pass those out when you're done if you want.
Sure. And I have plenty to share if anyone's interested. And then this January, I was contacted by a lady and asked if I would be interested in helping out with the National Day of Prayer. And so I registered with them, and I've now been asked to be the county coordinator for the National Day of Prayer, Clare County and Gladwin County. And my vision for this is to see the counties blanketed in prayer so that this nation can return to what it should be, and to see an additional 100, 200 years. I fear that if we don't, we may not see many more years. I'm really concerned about that. So I have one of our local pastors generously provided me with 1,800 flyers. So I have plenty of flyers to hand out and to share with different groups around the counties. So anyone who is interested, you don't have to have any specific qualifications. Anyone who wants to hold a gathering to support prayer for our nation on May 7th is welcome to do so. And if you let me know who you are and what your gathering looks like, I'd be glad to help you promote it. I'd be glad to get you the resources that I've been given to share. So it can be anything as small as you and a friend getting together over tea for half an hour to creating a day-long, 24-hour event with, you know, high-powered speakers, whatever you want it to be. It can be anything at all. Just as long as your direction is not political, it's not self-serving, it doesn't promote anything other than the nation praying for God, praying to God, praying for our nation. The flyers are so cool this year, and I knew this was what I had to do because they have George Washington praying at Valley Forge. So, and this is what we talk about a lot in the classes that I have been providing. So it really means something to me. And then also, when you open up the brochure, you'll find that they recommend that we pray through the 7, some people call it the 7 mountains of influence or the 7 times of it. So yeah, that's really been heavy on my heart that in so many areas of our lives, we've taken God out. And then we wonder why our movies, why our entertainment is, you know, so trashy. Well, when you take God out, what's left? So it's important that we bring God back into government, bring back into business, bring him back into education, bring him back into entertainment. Just all of the 7 areas that we have influence in. And we need to pray for all of those areas. So if you know anyone, encourage your churches. Some churches aren't even interested. Can you believe it? I'm just amazed. Our churches need to be praying for our nation. All of our people need to be praying for our nation. So I implore you to just think about ways that you can participate in this, whether you're participating as someone who goes and prays or someone who organizes an event. I think this is critically important. So I have lots of resources. Get in touch with me. I would love to help you set up an event and help you advertise it. Any questions?
Thank you. Good morning. Good morning.
Morning.
Just want to take this moment to introduce myself. I'm Andrew Goodman. I am the Hayes Township zoning administrator and code enforcement. Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Any other public comment? Okay. Any unfinished business? New business?
It was, I'd like to bring back the flag of that trust, bring back discussion about the housing, just that. Couple of those.
Okay. Do you wanna do that now or?
Next meeting. But we do it now, no matter me.
You wanna present that as a motion so we can, yeah,
Nope, and make a motion that we, flag of that we trust, we put it in the county building.
is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
So really quick, I understand. So we're making a motion to include it right now.
Yeah.
Making a motion to put it in the building.
Put it in the building.
Yeah.
Okay.
Say yes, or I mean to say yes, we want, or no, we don't.
Okay, so, cause from what I understand, the reason why last month there was no second is because it was put onto the agenda, but there was nothing other than saying that it had been overruled by the Supreme Court. There was nothing brought in to kind of indicate that, and I know unfortunately, we are in a place right now where, cause from what I was able to go through after seeing it and knowing what that item was about, in the agenda after that meeting, was able to go through and look into what you were talking about with the Supreme Court ruling, because until you had brought that up, I had no idea. So I went through and looked, and I didn't see the ruling for it being completely overturned. I did see a lot of individual cases by case basis, where in some places, based off of intent or how it was incorporated into those buildings, it was deemed constitutional and legal, and in other places where there still were, it was being deemed unconstitutional based on the reason why it was being implemented and the intention behind the actor of the government agency that was incorporating it. So I'm not very legally inclined. So that was my concern, was I want to make sure that we don't go through and add it in and have it be in a way where it turns around and someone then goes and says, this is unconstitutional, and now we are in a court instance over something that would take us to go through, if we were to have discussed it and go, well, let's check with our legal counsel to make sure that we're able to incorporate it in a way where it would be constitutionally sound. We wouldn't have to worry about, because I know we have already seen firsthand on this board the costs of going through court cases. And so being able to make sure that if we are to implement it, that it's done in a way where it is above board, because unfortunately, the age that we are in, there is a lot of, everything seems to derive back down to being turned into a court case. So that was my concern, was it was brought onto the agenda as an item for discussion, and then with little discussion, it was brought into as a motion to adopt without any kind of discussion or ability to kind of go, is there a right way that we can implement this? Or that before we put it up for a vote to talk about it, to make sure that we're checking or crossing our T's and dotting our I's. So that was my concern last month on why I didn't want to go through and make a motion to approve it without doing any kind of due diligence on the matter.
Mr. Chair, can you restate the motion, please?
The motion was to install the national motto, "In God We Trust," in the court.
So this is just the In God We Trust,
Yes.
not,
Yes, just that.
okay. Because that, from what I understand, what I saw in a lot of cases, the 10 Commandments, regardless of how any of us would vote, that was the thing that I saw a lot of going either way, depending on how it was incorporated in its implementation into public spaces.
Any more discussion? Okay,
Is it anywhere in the courthouse, or is there a specific spot, right?
when I originally proposed it, I had imagined putting it in our boardroom. In fact, I ordered the plaque, I think I showed it to you last month. It was to match the decor of this room if it was posted on the front of our lecture. So the front of our lecture would have "In God We Trust."
Is that the motion that Rick made?
I don't know what he has in mind.
I was even thinking the entrance, or that you weren't thinking of, just be nice to have the national model ability.
I just want to be clear where it's gonna go. That's all I meant.
Up for discussion, or I think you should go.
Put it right there where we said originally.
I
Nope, it matches, that's right, say, put that in motion.
Thank you.
Any more discussion?
Well, I guess I'd make a motion to amend Rick's to clarify the location and the specific plaque that would be used, which would be the donated plaque from George Gilmore, to place it on the front of the lectern in front of the chairman's position.
Is there a second? Second. It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
So now,
Something, please.
Yes.
The original motion was made by Caitlin, seconded by Goldstein. The amended motion was made by Rose, and seconded by me.
Yes.
so then we would vote on the amendment and then vote on the motion, or is it voting on the one
Why
forever?
don't we just have Rick
we,
add to his motion and we'll do it that way.
we can vote on the amendment. We can vote on the amendment to vote to amend the motion to install it on the front of the election. Let's do roll call.
Everybody,
Yes.
Jenkins,
Yes.
Hauser,
Yes.
Reinhardt,
Yes.
Chesky,
Yes.
Gilmore,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes.
Haskell,
Yes.
Oakley.
Yes.
Okay, the amendment carried. So now we will vote on the motion as amended. To install the national motto plaque on the front of our election. Roll call again, please.
Everybody,
Yes.
Chesky,
Yes.
Reinhardt,
Yes.
Jenkins,
Yes.
Gilmore,
Yes.
Hauser,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes.
Haskell,
Yes.
Oakley.
Yes.
Okay, motion carried.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
There a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, we are adjourned.